All right, today we're tackling something huge. It's called the 80-20 principle, and it's honestly one of the most powerful and most counterintuitive secrets to getting more done with way less effort.
Have you ever had one of those days? You know the feeling. You're just slammed, running around, your to-do list is a mile long, but when your head hits the pillow, you're like, what did I actually accomplish today? It feels like you're just spinning your wheels. That's the effort paradox in a nutshell.
I mean, the world basically tells us that success is a simple formula, right? More effort equals more results. You put in the hours, you get the reward. If you want more, you just gotta grind harder, work longer. That's the story we're all sold.
But what if that's just a big fat lie? A trap? What if the universe doesn't actually play fair? What if the link between what you put in and what you get out isn't a neat and tidy 50-50 deal? What if it's wildly, totally unbalanced? Because let me tell you, getting your head around this one thing, it can change absolutely everything.
And that brings us right to the heart of it, the 80-20 revelation. And look, this isn't some new age productivity hack. No, this is a powerful, century-old observation that's been hiding in plain sight this whole time.
So picture this. It's 1897. An Italian economist, Vilfredo Pareto, is just minding his own business, studying wealth patterns in England. And he stumbles onto something weird. He finds that roughly 80% of all the land and wealth is owned by just 20% of the people. He probably thought, that's a strange coincidence. But then he looked at other countries and other points in history. And guess what? The exact same lopsided pattern showed up again and again and again.
And that's how we got the 80-20 principle, also known as the Pareto principle. Here's the big idea. A small chunk of your causes, your inputs, your effort, leads to the majority of your results. So think about that. It means that around 20% of what you do is probably responsible for 80% of your success. Just let that sink in for a second. It implies that the other 80%, the huge majority of your work, is pretty much wasted effort. Whoa.
You see this all the time in business. A company might have 100 products, but you can bet that a small handful of them, the top 20%, are the rock stars that bring in 80% of the profits. The rest, well, they're kind of just taking up space on the shelf. And this isn't some rare thing. This imbalance is the rule, not the exception.
Okay, so let's dig into why this idea of a 50-50 balance is basically a fantasy. We're going to look at some hard data now, because this isn't just some abstract theory. You can see it happening in the real world.
Check this out. This is data from a real electronics company. You can see that a couple of their product lines are absolute cash cows, just printing money. But look down at the bottom. Those last two categories, they're not just doing poorly, they're actively losing the company money every time they sell one. So that trivial many, that 80%, isn't just useless, it's actually hurting the business.
And it's the same story with customers. A small slice of your best customers, maybe the top 25%, are bringing in nearly all the profit. But then you've got this huge group of customers, almost 40% of them, that are a total money pit. The company is literally paying to serve customers who are dragging them down. It's crazy.
So you got to be asking, why? Why does this happen everywhere? Well, it's because the universe isn't fair and balanced. It's not linear. There's this idea in chaos theory called sensitive dependence on initial conditions. It's a mouthful, but it basically means that a tiny, tiny advantage at the very beginning, like a snowball at the top of a hill, can get bigger and bigger as it rolls, amplified by feedback loops, until it becomes this unstoppable avalanche down the line.
Okay, so understanding this principle is cool and all, but it's just a fun fact until you actually do something with it. This is where the magic really happens. We're moving from theory to action. Now, you can apply this in two ways. First, there's what's called 80-20 analysis. That's the super data-driven, spreadsheet-heavy way businesses figure out which products or customers are their winners. But for you and me, the real game changer is 80-20 thinking. You don't need any spreadsheets for this. It's a mindset, a new way of looking at the world.
And this is the big mental shift you have to make. Conventional wisdom tells us to be efficient, to do more things in less time, to check off more boxes. It's all about being busy. But 80-20 thinking is about being effective. It's not about doing more things, it's about doing more of the right things. It values results, not activity. So how do you actually do this? It's pretty straightforward, just 3 steps. Step 1, you've got to identify your vital few. Seriously ask yourself, what 20% of my efforts are creating 80% of the good stuff in my life? Step 2, focus your energy. Once you know what works, you've got to double down on it.
Pour your time and resources into those high-impact activities. And then step 3, and this is the tough one, you have to eliminate or drastically cut back on the rest. All that trivial many stuff that just eats up your day for almost no return.
All right, let's bring this home. This is about one thing. Stop valuing busyness and start valuing effectiveness. It's time to find your vital few.
So let's get personal for a minute. Think about your job. What are the 20% of things you do that create 80% of your actual value? Is it answering every single email in your inbox? Or is it that one phone call you make to a major client? Is it sitting in endless meetings? Or is it the 2 hours of deep work you do on that game-changing project? You need to figure out what your 20% is.
And hey, this isn't just about work. Think about your life. Who are the 20% of people who bring you 80% of your happiness and support? What are the 20% of activities and experiences that create 80% of your best memories? When you start applying this principle to your personal life, that's when things can really truly change for the better.
You know, there's this amazing quote from the physicist Joseph Ford that just nails it. He said, "God plays dice with the universe, but they're loaded dice. And the main objective is to find out by what rules they were loaded and how we can use them for our own ends." The 80-20 principle is basically telling us that the universe's dice are always loaded. Life isn't balanced. It's not a 50-50 game. So the real question is, can you figure out which way the dice are loaded in your life and start making your bets accordingly?